So in today's video, we're going to be talking about a full running shoe rotation all the way from easy recovery mileage down to race day. Hopefully give an option for everything depending on what kind of needs you want. And in that, we're going to do like in between. So for example, when we do easy run, we're going to do the difference between an easy run shoe and let's say a steady / tempo shoe. And then also tell you which one you could get if you kind of want to do both and have a shoe what Seth Demoor calls a tweener shoe, I believe. Stay tuned for the end because at the end we are going to be doing a shoe rotation for 3 shoes. So if you could make a shoe rotation out of only 3 shoes, which shoes we think would be best? I think that is definitely the best shoe lineup for anyone to get if they're new to running or want a very solid, versatile shoe lineup and don't want to spend too much money, which feels weird saying because running shoes are expensive now, so they tend to be quite a lot of money, but it's minimizing costs by only having 3 shoes. So the first shoe we are going to talk about is recovery run, easy run shoes. And for me, the only option is the Nike Invincible. This is a very beat up pair of Nike Invincibles. This is my first pair. Just thought I'd get it out to sort of show how much of a durable shoe it is. Like I've done so many miles in these, as you can probably tell. So spongy, the ZoomX foam really helps with recovery, better than any other shoe I've ever worn. So if you haven't tried this shoe, I would really recommend it, especially if you struggle with recovery, because it is a great recovery run shoe. So next is in between recovery and easy run and I guess daily mileage, and that is the On Cloud Monster. I don't have it on me because it's in a different house at the minute, but that shoe is really fun to run with. It's great on the road and it's On's best shoe by a long way in my opinion from other On shoes I've worn. The On Monster is actually a shoe it's in my rotation, so it is a great shoe, and if you haven't tried On before, I would suggest getting that over anything else. On are a great brand and it's nice that they're finally making good shoes to show for what they're doing in the sport. It's slightly harder than the Invincible, but it's lighter, so that's why it doesn't really go into the recovery run or my first choice recovery run. But I think for in between recovery runs and easy or daily mileage, it's a great shoe to put on whenever you want, and also you could probably do some strides and maybe pick up a paces in it as well. Next is another shoe I actually don't have on me again because I stuck dog poo in it and it's outside because I just wanted to throw them away. I've done quite a lot of mileage in them and rather than washing them I just decided to throw them away. But that is the Novablast 2 in my opinion. It is great for daily mileage, which is I guess what you're going to do the most of the mileage in, or something that you can always go for. Like you can still do recovery runs and you can still maybe even get faster into the tempo pace stuff. But it's just a very versatile shoe. You can warm up in it. It's relatively stable. It's bouncy, it's fast, but it's also got a lot of cushion. Yeah, for me, a great all-around shoe, and the Novablast 3, what's coming out soon, seems to be a step up from that as well, and I really want to try that when it does come out. In between the daily mileage shoe and tempo is next, and for me, that is the Hoka Mach 5. I actually haven't tried the Hoka Mach 5, I've only tried the Hoka Mach 4. I know a lot of people will be saying, how can you recommend a shoe that you haven't worn? Just from how good the Mach 4 was and all the reviews on the Mach 5 saying that there's been a big improvement, and there's a new foam. I just think if the older version could do it, then the newer version definitely can. It can pick up the paces because it's very lightweight for a bigger shoe or like a Hoka shoe definitely, and it's just really comfortable. The upper is really good and it's probably Hoka's best shoe in my opinion, and definitely the Mach 4 was. Now he's on to Tempo and Threshold, and I only have the first version here, but it is a Saucony Endorphin Speed 1, 2 or 3. To be honest, they're quite similar, all of them. The 3 is the best, and then the 1 and the 2 are very, very similar. But it's just a very natural, good feeling shoe, and when I say natural, it just feels really comfortable, and you can just flow through your stride really nicely, and it's always really comfortable. And the foam is really good, very leg-savvy foam, and it's quite responsive and bouncy as well. And the plastic rods give a nice little push without being too stiff, so you can take it on the easier pace stuff and you can take it even faster than Threshold, to be honest. But for me it's probably the best tempo / Threshold shoe out there, just with how comfortable it feels at those paces. And also you can do jogs. If you're doing like a fartlek, you can also do a lot of easy running in this, and for a marathon runner it's probably great for marathon sessions as well, because again when you're doing fartleks you tend to be running easy and then running fast, and you tend to also run somewhere to warm up and then run somewhere to cool down without wanting to change your shoes, and this can do everything in my opinion. So next is the faster pace training without spikes, and now I'm going to talk about 2 separate different shoes in each one, and that is going to be a non-super version and then a super version. For faster training paces I've gone for the Takumi Sen 8, and the reason why I'm not saying this is the super version, yes it does have super foam, but it only has plastic rods rather than the carbon infused rods from Adidas. And also you can generally pick it up for quite cheap for sale all the time. So for me, very comfortable at picking up the paces. It's very fast. It's a great toe off. You can sort of spring off very quickly whilst also feeling natural. It can go on the track and the roads because it corners very well. And the Continental rubber also helps with grip and wet conditions. And this is probably the most enjoyable shoe I've worn in terms of how good it feels at faster paces. It feels very natural, which I also think is good for training because it doesn't stop you from running with proper running mechanics. But the other shoe I do have is the Nike Next Percent, purely because it's very versatile in terms of paces. So again, if you're doing a fartlek session, if you're doing a different pace session, you can always go to this on the track, on the roads. It's lightweight, it's very snappy. The ZoomX foam is very leg savvy as well, so it just helps with recovery the days after, which also prevents injuries quite well as well. And I think that's kind of what we've seen with a lot of improvements in recent years. Yes, the shoe technology has got better, but also in training it allows you to do more because you're more recovered because of the foam. The only downside, I guess, is the price for training. It's quite expensive compared to the Takumi. Now onto Spikes training, and unfortunately it's the same answer for the Spikes racing as well, and that is the Nike Dragonfly. There is obviously Adidas Super Spikes, Asics Super Spikes, New Balance Super Spikes. The New Balance LD Spikes, what I can't seem to be able to buy anywhere, may be the best because of the stack height for training, but you can't really buy them anywhere, so I'm still going to go with the Dragonfly. It's, again, ZoomX foam, which saves the legs. There's no carbon plate, which in a spike makes it really aggressive, so saves the calves in training. It's probably the spike what's going to allow you to recover the most, because a lot of track sessions where you're running in spikes, you ache the next day. It's very noticeable, especially one factor is because you're running faster and also because you haven't got much cushion. So I just think the best shoe to wear is the Nike Dragonfly, purely because of the leg saving and also its ability to still go fast. Next up is racing on the roads, and we did do a video where we covered the top 4 super shoes for different distances because I don't really want to get into 5k, 10k, half marathon, marathon and any other distances. So I'm just going to say my top 4, and for me that is the Nike Alphafly 2, the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 2, the Adios Pro 3 and the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus. I would say if you are an efficient runner and like a bit of a faster, more traditional feeling super shoe, this would be a good choice. But for me, I prefer the bigger the better. So this is definitely my 4th best out of the 4 I've mentioned, and it's probably also the 4th best on the market. The new addition is the Adidas Pro 3 or Adidas Adios Adizero Pro 3. Crazy name. Really good shoe, really comfortable, a lot of cushion, can handle track, can handle road races. I just really like the shoe a lot, and it was quite a surprise because I feel like even though the Adidas shoes are really good, they haven't been quite to the standard of Nike Vaporfly or the Alphafly, whereas this definitely is, and I'd comfortably race in this. The Alphafly 2, people have mixed opinions because of the weight. I just love it. I love the Alphafly 1 and I love the Alphafly 2 even more. I think it is the best shoe on the planet in terms of it can do everything, slow, easy, whilst also going fast. It has the best energy return as well, but that doesn't necessarily convert to the fastest because it's heavy and also you're probably bouncing up a bit more than forward like in the Next Percent 2. And as I mentioned, for training, the Nike Next Percent 2, still probably the most versatile shoe on the market, probably the thing you can get the best out of, along with the Adios Pro 3 actually. Like if I had to do a 5k up to a marathon, I'd pick one of these 2 shoes purely because they can handle the 5k very well, whilst also handling the marathon very well. Whereas for me, I wouldn't really enjoy racing a marathon in the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus, and I wouldn't really enjoy as much, even though it'd still do a very good 5k, running the 5k in the Alphafly Next Percent 2. And finally, the racing is also the Nike Dragonfly. Again, I have got pretty much every other super spike on the planet. I've got the Asics Metaspeed spike, I've got both Adidas spikes, I've got the Air Zoom Victory, and the only spikes I haven't tried are the New Balance ones, which may actually be better, I don't know. But for me, the Dragonfly is still the best with the ZoomX foam and the sort of spike plate. There's no carbon plate in it, but it's just poppy, aggressive, whilst also having a nice amount of cushion. Feels like you've got a flat on your foot. And in fact, the first time I wore it, it felt like it was the Pegasus Turbo with spike plate on. Which, speaking of the Pegasus Turbo, I just wanted to bring this out to mention and ask you, comment down below what you think the best shoe of all time is, because for me it's the Pegasus Turbo 1. You could do absolutely everything in the shoe. It looked very interesting and it was kind of ahead of its time in terms of the design, and I just think, yeah, Nike need to bring it back. Well, they are bringing the Pegasus Nature back next month, but this for me is the best shoe I've ever worn, and I'll keep it forever, even though I'd never run it anymore because it's very banged up. I've done probably like 1,000 miles in this shoe. So just wanted to ask that, so comment down below what your favourite shoe of all time is. And finally, as promised, we're going to be talking about if you could use only 3 shoes in a rotation, which saves costs without having to buy an array of shoes, and also they can do all the jobs. The first shoe you need to get is the Nike Invincible for easy miles or the daily miles. It optimizes recovery and it can handle all the easy paces, and it lasts a long time because of how thick it is, and the ZoomX foam is great for recovery. And you can also normally get it on sale from Nike or other websites like Sports Shoes. So I just think it's a great shoe. The next shoe I'd have in that rotation is the Saucony Endorphin Speed, one of the first, second or third versions. Like I said, not much difference. The one's definitely going to be the cheapest now, so maybe go for the one. The foam is soft and very comfortable, like I said. Energy return, leg saving, and the plastic plate is really nice in terms of pushing you along without being too aggressive. And finally, I would get the Nike Next Percent 2 for racing or faster training. Even though this could handle faster training, if you really wanted to do like a killer session, maybe pre-race, then you could go for this as well. And it's the most versatile in terms of, like I said, it can handle the 5K all the way up to the marathon and further. So those are the 3 shoes I would wear. I guess comment down below, as well as saying what your favourite shoe of all time is, just comment your rotation, or if you could build a rotation with only using 3 shoes, what that would be and why. And also, why not, what shoe you're most excited for to come out in the next year, because at the minute for me, it's probably the Novablast 3 or the New Balance Super Comp Elite 3, even though there's only been, that's the first Super Comp, it's just confusing names. Please like, subscribe and comment, and goodbye.